Uh, Star Wars Andor Season 1. It's now finished. Finished last night. 12 episodes. Uh, I don't know what to say. I don't think Joseph knows what to say either because I honestly don't even remember what happens at the start of the show. To me, it dragged out way too much. 12 episodes was not needed. I don't want to trash on it because, Tony Gilroy, he's a very good filmmaker, but I'm sorry, Andor wasn't Star Wars to me. Um, a lot of people love it, and I can see why they love it. But I love Star Wars, not a spy thriller. Yeah, it was cool to have this spy thriller, but I love Star Wars. I love the Force. I love the Jedi, the Sith, lightsabers, lightsaber duels. That's what I want to see when I'm watching Star Wars, and obviously that's not what we got during Andor. Um, so to me, Andor, I'm never going to revisit it. Yes, I'm going to watch season two. I think season two will be much better. Um, I I was really disappointed we never got to see Palpatine. Obviously, the Senate, the Senate was cool, but it was, to be honest, it was really lame. They think, oh, it's fan service to show Palpatine, when it's really not when you think about it. Yeah, he's a main character, but if it's going to benefit the storyline, it's not fan service. Palpatine is the leader of the galaxy around this time. He's the head of the Senate. Why is he not there? And obviously we got Sly Moore's name thrown around a few times, and they had the dinner with her, but we never saw that because that's fan service. Oh, it's a character from the prequels, a big character, or mid character, but they don't show us, and that's something I'm really disappointed in. Is the lack of Star Wars elements. Yeah, we got all those Easter eggs in the back of Luthen's shop, but Tony Gilroy, the creator of this show, didn't even know that those were there until fans pointed them out online. Apparently, the set designers just threw them in there because they just want to have a bit of fun. But
Oh
yeah,
wow.
I
Okay.
yeah, to me, uh, I'm never gonna watch it again. Maybe episode 6, the Eye, that was pretty cool. But really, I don't care for this. I don't care about it. Um, Going into Andor, I didn't have expectations. I thought we would get more than what we got. But even episode 12, the finale, when they had Andor's mum's funeral, Jesus Christ, they just blowing all the trumpet and the instrument for so long. That was dragged out as hell. And then you have Padme's funeral in the prequels, and it's freaking 10 seconds long. Like Andor's mum's mum. No one, who cares about her? Freaking long ass funeral that we don't need to see. Yeah, I don't want to trash an Andor. It was very different, but to me, I'm never gonna watch it again. To me, it wasn't Star Wars. Now that's just my opinion. For me, when I'm watching Star Wars, I just want to see the Force, lightsabers, Jedi, Sith. That's what I love watching when I watch Star Wars. That, to me, that is what Star Wars is. To me, Andor, the Andor elements is not Star Wars. I get they wanted to do something new, and it was great to try something new, but in my opinion, I just love it when they stick to the good old lightsaber duels with the Force, the Jedi, the Sith. I'm definitely much more hyped for the Acolyte because, Sith-centered show. We haven't had much of the Sith's background before, so Acolyte should be good. But Andor really did disappoint me. It's just not Star Wars to me. I know a lot of people are loving it, and if you love it, then I wish I could love it as well. But when I watch a Star Wars branded show, I'm wanting to see all those Star Wars elements that make up Star Wars, which is the Force, Jedi, as I've said. But in the finale, the ending was really cool. Did the post credit scene? Did you know that was the post credit?
No, I didn't. I didn't see it. No.
Right at the end, after all the credits, there was a post credit scene, and it was. Do you care if I tell you? You want me to spoil it?
No, go for it.
So basically, it was just the Death Star being finalized. So obviously, season two, we're going to see the Death Star. But yeah, end
Yeah,
credit
cool.
scene. Yeah, they just had the little buzz droids or
So,
whatever finishing off the Death Star.
so what you're telling me is the entire series in which we want a little bit of fan service, we want a little bit of like Star Wars, and then they went into the post-credit scene to give us
The Death
debatably
Star, yeah,
the biggest thing in the Star Wars. Like,
galaxy, yeah,
um, yeah, no, I didn't know that. I think that's really cool, but I do
yeah.
agree with you that Like, it isn't the Star Wars that we are used to, and Star Wars that anybody asked for. And I appreciate that they tried something new because
Mm-hmm.
it's leaning more into the political side of it. It's leaning more into like like yeah, everything behind the rebels, everything behind the empire,
Mm-hmm.
and its like upbringing.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. And yes, I'm sure that there are a lot of people who do enjoy it because it's hardcore lore to the story. It's not face value, and I appreciate that. But we have, I think if this was released a few years ago, or maybe a few years in the future, where we're not as thirsty for Star Wars, like pure Star Wars, if we weren't as like hungry for it, if we weren't missing it so much, I think this would be a lot more appreciated because right now, Tales of the Jedi, you can watch that in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Right. Um, Mandalorian has been showing. I suppose it's been getting closer to it. We've seen Luke Skywalker and whatnot, but Andor just chucked in the middle of a Star Wars drought
Yeah.
where we haven't had the Force like heavily. We haven't had the Force. We haven't had Sith. We
Major,
haven't
yeah.
had Jedi and lightsabers and just Star Wars. We're just chucked into this. Like it's. I feel like it was.
Yeah.
It was poor timing.
Yeah,
If maybe we watch it in a few years later where we've had say a movie or two movies and a bunch more TV shows, I think we could appreciate this a lot more. But right now, when we're in a drought for Star Wars,
maybe,
it's
yes.
it's like we struggle to watch it.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Cause I don't know what to say. I don't care for it. Like, give
Yeah,
me lightsabers and freaking Jedi and Sith dueling. Like that's with Kenobi. Kenobi overall, like looking back at it now, it really wasn't great from a filmmaking perspective. But I'm always going to go and rewatch that Vader versus Obi-Wan fight in Episode
yeah,
Six because
exactly.
to me that's one of my favorite duels in all of Star Wars. That was so emotional. That was Star Wars. Two
Yeah,
a Jedi, a Sith, lightsabers, the Force being used to create emotion, create themes, and that's what I love. When I watch Star Wars, that's what Star Wars is. When it first started, Episode 4, the Force and the lightsabers, the Jedi, the Sith.
yeah,
That's what that was the birth of Star Wars. Episode 4, New Hope, 1977. And when I go to watch Star Wars, I'm praying that we get another cool ass, sick lightsaber duel between a Jedi and a Sith. Some Force users in there, and Andor, we're not gonna get that. But
no,
which I understand a lot of people love it. In my opinion, I'm jealous of you guys that love it. I wish I could love it, but I just don't care about a spy thriller. That's not my favorite genre. I love, the space fantasy, sci-fi stuff.
yeah.
Stuff done in space that, like fantasy, stuff like that. That's what I love. I don't really care about a spy thriller. Yeah, it's cool and it's cool to have it in Star Wars, but to me, I don't care. But I will watch season 2, of course. I'm still going to watch season 2, and I'm praying for season 2 to be better. Now, I think we could see Grand Admiral Thrawn in season 2 because around the time the season 2, he will be becoming a Grand Admiral, and Thrawn will make his live action debut in Ahsoka, so we could potentially see him in Andor. They're going to leave his
Yeah.
live action debut for Ahsoka show, but then again, I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to happen. Tony Gilroy's not going to do it because it's fan service. I hate how they think if these major characters are in a show, it's fan service. That's not the case. If it's going to benefit the storyline, that's not fan
Yeah.
service. Obi-Wan vs. Maul on Tatooine in Rebels Twin Sons, that will be happening around the time of season 2 of Andor. If they go and show us that, that's fan service because that doesn't benefit the storyline of Andor.
Yeah.
But Grand
I'd
Admiral
still love
Thrawn,
it.
yeah, we would love that. But that is the
But
definition of fan service.
yeah, exactly.
Giving us Thrawn, who is someone very high up in the Empire, and Andor is basically the rebels versus the Empire, and the rebels being built and the Empire trying to stop them. Grand Admiral Thrawn showing up would make sense.
Yeah.
And I hate how they think it's fan service because of these big characters. No, it's not fan service if it's benefiting the storyline. That's what I
But then,
want them to understand.
they chuck in the Death Star. I get
Yeah,
it was a post-credit scene,
yeah.
but Um, yeah, I don't know if you know this. I saw a TikTok of a popular Australian Star Wars YouTuber. Um, and he, if you go on Disney Plus, he showed it. You go on Disney Plus, you go to Star Wars. You have to go across 7 of the title screens or the big pages up top to actually find Andor.
Yeah.
They're not promoting it. Disney are not promoting Andor. I have
Yeah.
not seen Star Wars Instagram post anything about Andor.
It's 9 across. When you click on Star Wars on,
9.
yeah, it's 9 across.
9. I thought it was
Clone
7.
Wars
That's
is
worse.
Clone Wars is second.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what they're doing. They need.
They
I don't love Andor, but you got to promote your new stuff. I think Andor is a good step in the right direction. Like, it is. Like, the cinematography
arguably,
throughout the entire series is amazing.
yeah.
Even the music holds up. I think the acting is solid, although a lot of the some of the characters I don't care for
Mm-hmm.
too much.
I agree. From a filmmaking perspective, you know, the score, so the music, the acting, the directing, the writing, cinematography, that was all great. But in a Star Wars branded show, it's lacking Star
Yeah.
Wars.
And that's what I was going to say. I think Disney know that because they're kind of hiding it.
Yeah,
They're hiding their show.
In reality, I've said this once before, I'm going to say it again. They need someone else in charge, and that could be coming very, very soon. Now, the CEO of Disney just got fired, and now Bob Iger, who was the CEO of Disney when Disney bought Lucasfilm, is now back in power. I don't know how I feel about it. I think he's definitely better than the last CEO, but he was the reason the sequels were rushed. However, I feel like he knows I feel like he's going to try to right his wrongs. He knows they were rushed. He regrets them. He's put up many statements saying how much he regrets doing what he did to George Lucas's franchise. So I hope him being back in power at Disney is a step in the right direction. Kathleen Kennedy, the president of Lucasfilm, she could be gone Australian winter next year, so American summer next year, July next year, she could be gone. After Indiana Jones 5, she could be gone. And I am praying for that. Don't get me wrong, what Kathleen Kennedy has done in the past has been amazing. She's an amazing producer in the past. She worked on E.T., the Jurassic Parks, the original Star Wars, so many great films that she's worked on in the past. But I don't feel like she has the responsibility to run a company like Lucasfilm. And I am praying that if she does retire July next year, we don't get some random person in power of Lucasfilm. I've thought about it. I don't want it to be Dave. Dave Filoni can't run a company. He can't run Lucasfilm. He's a director and a writer. He's not a freaking CEO of a company. And if he did have to run Lucasfilm, Lucasfilm isn't just Star Wars. They have their other stuff such as Willow, Indiana Jones. Dave Filoni knows Star Wars inside out. I want him to be focusing on Star Wars. I want him to be the head creative of Star Wars, of Star Wars, which means he has to look over every single project that's happening, every single show and movie he has to approve of. He has to look over. That's what I want Dave to be doing. He is the only one at Lucasfilm who knows Star Wars as good as George Lucas. He's the only one left in Lucasfilm who knows Star Wars as good as George Lucas does. So, the person I want to run Lucasfilm is Jon Favreau. He's got experience in the business side of filmmaking and being a producer. I reckon he would run Lucasfilm very well. And, yeah, I hope we don't get another random person. Kathleen can't just leave and then we get someone just as bad or someone worse. I don't want to say Kathleen Kennedy's bad, but she's amazing things in the past. But at the moment, I don't feel like she has the responsibility to run a big company like Lucasfilm.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it kind of goes to show that, I mean, what we've had of late, at least movie wise, um, and from what we know, has been impacted by her. And but I get also understand what you mean about Bob Iger. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of scary to see where we're going. Like,
There's been a few articles came out. Apparently, he wants to sell Disney. I can't. I can't see Disney being under someone. I can't see Disney being owned by someone else. Apparently,
no,
Apple.
Disney own everybody.
Apparently, Apple. Looking at it. That
Really,
that blows my mind. To be honest, I don't know. Apple.
I I
Apple
see
owning
Disney as
Disney,
the
Lucasfilm, or
I see Apple. I see Disney as like the biggest powerhouse in media right now. At least, I mean, like cinema.
100%.
Um, they own
They own everything.
Fox, they own Marvel, they own Disney, they own. Oh, sorry, they own Star Wars. Um,
Yeah, freaking
like
Pixar,
yeah,
uh,
Pixar.
20th Century Fox,
Yeah, it's absurd. Like I can't picture them being
ESPN.
bought
Yeah,
out.
I know. It's to me. I, I don't think that will happen. Um, but if it does happen, Apple's probably the number one like buyer. Like, and I can't. I don't know how I feel about Apple owning Disney and all their or Marvel, Lucasfilm. I don't know. Give it to Amazon. Give it to Amazon. Amazon
Really?
buy Disney. I would want that, to be honest. I don't care. Then probably Disney Plus would get shut down and everything would go on to Amazon Prime. I feel like, but it's gonna be the same thing, just TV shows. Everything now is these stupid streaming services, and they're just making TV shows. Give me a
Yeah,
freaking movie, dude. Like, I'm so sick of these stupid. They're not stupid TV shows. They drag out, and it's not. You don't get the feeling of a movie. I want to be back in cinema, sitting in my cinema chair, looking at the big screen, and the Star Wars logo comes up, Lucasfilm. It's been too long, and it's going to be much longer because obviously we know two Star Wars movies have been delayed now. The next one isn't until 2027 at the earliest. 5 years. I'll be 20. What the
oh,
hell? What
yeah,
the hell? And yeah, I don't know. They're in a predicament, and they know that too. Um, they really have to make some improvements. They have to do something. I don't know if they will be able to. They won't ever be able to make Star Wars as good as it used to be. Star Wars' glory
no,
is over, and they're just feeding. They just feeding off Star Wars now for money.
yeah. Well,
And
it's easy when Star Wars is the IP is between Star Wars, Marvel, and DC. The IP, it'll bring in whatever. Like
mm-hmm,
it'll bring in numbers and it'll
exactly.
bring in money, and that's what they care about.
Like, if Andor was a TV show that didn't have Star Wars at the start, no, I don't really think it would have many people watching it. I watched it because it was Star Wars. Like I said, I'm gonna watch season 2 of Andor because it's Star Wars, because it's got the Star Wars
Yeah,
label. If it didn't have the Star Wars label, I wouldn't care. I'm only watching it so I know what's happening at this time frame. Even though I don't like it because it has the label and the brand of Star Wars. I'm gonna watch it.
yeah,
It's yeah. It without that, it's just like yeah. I don't know what they're going to do with because eventually fans. I don't. Star Wars has too big of a following. Fans are never going to turn away. Star Wars won't ever be able to die. It'll just be on a very slow decline. It's got a way too big of a name, and yeah. I hope it's after Kathleen goes and Bob Iger back in power of Disney. I hope things start to change for the better, and it really will depend who becomes the next president of Lucasfilm, because if it's some random, then it's just no point. There's gonna be no change. There needs to be a change. There can't be some
Yeah,
random new guy come in and take over from Kathleen and just do the same thing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like something cool. I mean, if say it is a new person, it's really a shot in the dark. Like we can't guess if it's going to be better or worse. Um, but that's also not a
Yeah.
chance I'd want to take either. Like I
No.
don't know. Right now, it's just so up in the air. It's so worrying that when we don't know what's going to happen with Star Wars
No. I
at all. And yeah,
At least we got the OT and the prequels. I'll just continue watching those, man. Like,
yeah. It just following on from this massive franchise that George Lucas has built.
mm,
It's just constantly, not constantly. I should say that there has been improvement of late.
yeah. Like, look at that Mandalorian. That's amazing.
Mandalorian is it's a
Yeah.
step in the right direction.
Clone Wars season 7, Tales of the Jedi. Whenever Dave Filoni does something, it's good. He's the
Yeah,
Dave Filoni. He needs to have a higher position. He needs to do what he needs to do a movie. They need to allow him to do a movie. I don't know why, but they're hiring. I don't know if you heard, but there's the next Star Wars movie, 2027. I forgot who it's by, but there's these. It's a continuation of the sequels. What goes through? Okay, I'm about to go. What goes through their mind to make a continuation of the sequels when the sequels is the most hated trilogy of Star Wars? Why continue Rey and Finn's story when? To be honest, I'm not gonna watch that at cinema. I don't care if that's in the Star Wars movie. I'm not gonna watch it because the sequels to me make me freaking so angry because they just ruined the franchise. They took George Lucas's creation and they just say, "Oh, we just want to get close to $4 billion. Let's make 3 movies. First Force Awakens, $2 billion. Last Jedi 1.5, and then Rise of Skywalker 1.3. Number 7, episode 7, $2 billion. Episode 8, 1.5. Episode 9, 1.2. There was a decline there because people were like, "What the hell? This, yeah, why?" That makes me angry that the next Star Wars movie is probably going to be a continuation of the sequels. I'm sorry, but I know there's a lot of fans out there that love the sequels, but majority don't. And make something we all will enjoy. Makes something new. And I know
I am.
y'all are just gonna. I know you're just gonna go and say, "Oh well, Andor's new. You're not liking that." Make something new, but still Star Wars. Make us a Old Republic trilogy. Mm, just give
Yeah,
Dave a freaking movie. That's my
like
point.
I haven't I haven't paid much attention to it, but I assume that Tales of the Jedi has been getting a lot of like. Do we have the reviews? Do you have the reviews for Tales of the Jedi?
I do, but it's not people's favorite thing because of how short it is. People are kind of
Obviously,
people, which annoys me, but people are kind of disregarding it. And
yeah.
yeah, I hope they continue Tales of the Jedi and make it Clone Wars length form, and make Tales of the Sith. That would be really cool.
But if the problem is length, is that not fixable by just
It is,
like that's not a problem of
yeah.
do you know what I mean?
I do. I like they give Andor probably the highest budget of any Star Wars TV show, and then they give Obi-Wan the lowest budget of any TV show. Be- and Obi-Wan, they know Obi-Wan is gonna do amazing numbers. It's Obi-Wan. Everyone's gonna freaking watch Obi-Wan,
Yeah,
and we were all hyped for Obi-Wan, and then they gave us this really fan filmy freaking TV show that it has some great moments, but overall it's a really goofy snooze fest. Not snooze fest. It's really goofy. Freaking what the hell is happening?
yeah.
And
Something on Andor that I think helped its like struggle as a show was its formatting. Like the way that they did it is they had their 3 episode trilogies,
yeah,
their 3 episode storylines,
yeah,
and I think that's what made it struggle the most. Like if you look at people's excitement for episode 1 and 2, oh
Mm.
sorry, 1 and 2 obviously were exciting because it's the new ones, but if you rewatch it, 1 and 2, and then
So
three,
boring.
three is a great episode.
Yeah,
4, 5, boring.
yeah.
6, great
It's like
episode.
it's like they do
7,
it.
8.
Yeah, like they
But
have
when
the first two episodes of the arc boring, but we're still gonna wait because we know it's leading up to a third arc, third
yeah,
episode that's gonna be banger.
I think it allows the show to be not lazier. Lazy is not the right word, but it allows the show to get away with a lot more, like with a lot less work. You know what I mean? Because they know that people will keep watching it because of the hype of the third episode in that
Yeah,
um in that storyline
yep,
out of the 3 episodes.
exactly.
Um, but like if you look at other TV shows, like once a week release TV shows, it builds. Every episode gets more exciting. Obviously, long seasons have filler episodes, but on the usual, it's building towards something, and the hype continues to go up.
Yeah,
Um, and so if you look at some of the bigger shows, like so, The Walking Dead just finished, and that yes, that it does have filler episodes, but it's all building to one thing
yeah,
each
exactly.
season.
It's just like
Um,
Cobra Kai.
Breaking
All the
Bad,
episodes.
yes, Cobra
Yeah,
Kai,
it's like all the episodes come out at once, and we're gonna watch them back to back. And
yeah,
weekly episodes, they do it so people keep their subscription longer. Like 12
yeah,
episodes. That's 3 months nearly
yeah. Like,
of, and then that's okay. Subscription's $10 a month, and if that's $30 for just Andor. How many people do you reckon watched Andor? That
I think it has relatively. I think it's high. I mean, I don't know.
and
People just.
Obi-Wan had 1 point something billion hours.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
That's crazy.
That does not
That's
surprise me.
that's crazy. They made a
And
ton
yet,
off that because their budget was really low for that.
and yet, lowest lowest funds
Yeah,
for a TV
yeah,
series out of like. Are you kidding me?
yeah.
And then
Like you would
Andor.
think that they already know Kenobi is gonna make a ton. You would
So
think
they're
they
trying to
would
make as much
give
profit.
yeah you would think they would give it a bigger budget. One for the fans. Two, it's Obi-Wan and Vader hating Christensen and Ewan McGregor back, and three yeah, it's Obi-Wan and freaking Vader.
See, here's the thing, right? Yes, Obi-Wan made them a lot of money, but now fans don't trust them. All right, you got to, as a company, what you need to do is invest in your fans to make them come back.
Yeah.
If you're telling me that after Obi-Wan and after Andor, that there's going to be a lot, you're going to have more fans return or more fans trust Star Wars as a brand now than what they did before. If Obi-Wan came out and was the best cinema or the best like show, best Star Wars show, if it came out and it hit harder than Mandalorian, are you telling me that there's going to be less fans returning than what there was?
Exactly.
Like they have now, yes, they've made however much money off Obi-Wan. They've profited this much money, yes, but in the future projects, they will make less money because of it, because the fans trust them less. I trust them less. Star
Yep.
Wars as a brand has lost my trust in it.
Exactly.
Andor
It
was a
has.
step in the right direction. Like, if you can, I understand the enjoyment out of Andor, but I don't have it. And as you said, nor do you.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
it didn't give me back my trust in the brand. George Lucas created something that was an investment for everybody. Yes, episode 1 and episode 2 were not the greatest.
Bro, I love episode 1. I love them in Phantom Menace. Episode 2,
I think it's overhated.
yeah, definitely. Attack of the Clones, all the
I
comedian clone stuff, that's cool. But the Anakin
yeah,
and Padme stuff, oh, bloody hell.
yeah. No, don't even get me started. Just watch the movie on mute. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but just yes, they made a lot. They made X amount of money for Obi-Wan. They profited this much money, but now they're going to make less money on their movies because they're going to be like people will now see, oh, Star Wars. Oh, they ruined Obi-Wan for me. I'm not going to return.
Yep. And that's definitely happened with a lot of the fan base.
Yeah,
people were giving Obi-Wan another try after the sequels, like the OG, people that grew
yeah,
up watching Star Wars in the 1970s. After the sequels, obviously they're going to go and watch sequels. After the sequels, a lot of people stepped away and a lot of people came back for Obi-Wan. And now even more people have stepped away and even more people have permanently stepped away
yeah.
because I really think they need to move on from touching legacy characters because they just can't do a good job at it, and they're really just gonna ruin it for the fans. They need to.
If if they were to do something with a legacy character, they need to do the utmost. Like, because
They need
we've
to.
we've spoken about it a few times.
Yeah.
Doing like Luke from Legends, right? Doing his
Mm,
storylines, Tales of Luke Skywalker.
yeah.
As much as I want that, it'd have to be either for Dave or John,
David
because
John. They need to.
anybody else, I would not trust to do this.
I agree.
Do something like that.
They need to give these legacy characters the right budget, the right crew.
Yep.
Um. Yeah. They're the two things they need: is the right crew and the right budget. Why didn't Dave and John do Obi-Wan?
I
I
don't know.
don't know.
Because
I don't know.
because Disney want to give everybody a chance. They like I'm not saying I it may be
I
just because
understand that, but with a legacy character with Obi-Wan,
yeah,
leave it to the people that know Star Wars the best. If they want to give other people a go, female directors and stuff. Sure, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. But they can't just they can't let them go in there to a big show and then you know
yeah,
disappoint us fans. They start on little things and then we're us as fans like, oh my god, that's really good. Let's see more of her um directing or whatever. And then they can build up. You can't jump the ladder. You have to
yeah,
work your way up.
yeah. No, yeah, exactly. I completely agree. It's um. I mean, I'm sure that she would have done a better job if she had better funds.
Yeah, better
Um,
funds, a better rider, 100%.
yeah, like I'm sure she would have done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And
Look what she did
it's
to
not her
Mando.
specifically. It's just yeah,
Yeah.
like it's not her. It's just what it, it always goes higher up
It's
than
stuff.
what
Yeah, I was
we
about to say
know.
people higher up.
Um, and if she were to be if she were, I assume she was attacked for it because people on the internet are crazy.
Twitter,
Um,
man, freaking Twitter. I'm about to delete
uh,
that app. Oh, so people on Twitter, dude. Oh my god. Ah, it is
yes.
one. Oh my god.
Like, it always goes higher.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've lost my faith in Star Wars, and they need to work harder to get it back because Andor, as I said, is a step in the right direction. I think the director, what's his name, Tom.
What Andor
Uh,
finale?
no, 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 the director. Sorry, Tom. I'm blanking.
Tom, the director of what?
Andor.
What of the finale episode?
No, 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 just the entire series.
Oh, Tony
Um,
Gilroy.
Tony Gilroy. Yeah,
Tony Gilroy. Yeah.
I was thinking. I was for some reason I was thinking Tom. Yeah, I think he should stay in the company. Maybe I guess
Mm,
Andor should be his. I believe he should stay as
he's
Andor.
uh
But he is different. Yes, I know what you're going to say. He's a different type of director.
bro.
Him and his brother. His brother writes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, his
Um.
two brothers. One's editor, one's writer.
Yeah. I think they're good. But we also haven't.
Um,
I don't know. I
I,
do. I'm just scared of.
okay. I like,
I'm scared of new
like,
people.
yeah, I like Tony Gilroy trying something new. Like, he's a great filmmaker, but he's publicly said he doesn't like Star Wars.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, in many times he's publicly said he doesn't like Star Wars. And if you're gonna have someone creating a Star Wars show, film, Star Wars is nearly 50 years old, a nearly 50-year-old franchise. You need to have someone who loves the franchise.
Yeah.
You have that corporate business person, and then you need that good creative Star Wars fanboy like Dave Filoni, perfect
Yeah.
perfect guy. He loves Star
Well,
Wars. He's loved it since he was a kid.
Yeah,
He worked. He got hired at Lucasfilm in 2008, I think. And
I wouldn't know.
yeah, he Tony Gilroy. Don't get me wrong. He is really talented, really creative. He is a very good filmmaker. But it's like Ryan Johnson. He's really talented, creative, good filmmaker. But when it comes to Star Wars, they need someone who loves it.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
I do want to get your opinion on something. So say Bob Iger
Hmm.
becomes the next CEO, and becomes the next big boss of Lucasfilm, right?
Of Lucasfilm.
Is he would he become Lucasfilm or was he become Star Wars?
What would I rather?
No. Like, if say he became the big boss, right?
He's
Would
he's
you
the
rather him?
he's the CEO of Disney right now. He got rehired
Oh,
on
he is.
Sunday. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
The other guy got
okay,
fired and he got rehired of
yeah.
Disney, CEO of Disney, in
And
charge
then
of
we're
everything.
just waiting for Kathleen to get
Get the boot. Indy
Okay.
After Indy 5.
So, would you rather have wait, say, another 5 years for a Star Wars movie, or would you rather then pump out something that isn't as good, or has a chance to be less good, depending on who's doing it? But would you rather quality or quantity right now in what we have?
Quality.
Quality. You'd rather wait
They've
5 years for
Quality.
Star
They've
Wars.
been doing quantity with the TV shows, and they haven't been performing well. Well,
Yep.
not well, they've been performing, but they haven't been very good. Um, okay, what they need to do, I think Kathleen retires, someone else comes in. They have a meeting, a whole meeting, all the executives at Lucasfilm, and they talk about they plan the next decade. They plan the next 10 years of
Yep.
shows and movies. They start from scratch and they go from there. Takes about, I would say they take 5 years to make the first movie. I know that's a long time, but the reason now I know a lot of people are probably going to say, "Oh, well, you just said earlier you want a Star Wars film ASAP." Kathleen has been at Lucasfilm since for a long time. She's been the president since Disney bought it, and they've made 5 movies. 2019 was the last one. They've had lots of time to create a Star Wars film. Since 2019, there was one meant to be coming out end of next year. It got cancelled. What pisses me the most off is that they cancel shows. They cancel and delay shows and movies.
Oh, they do
So,
games as well. Don't you worry about that.
oh, and
I've kept
games.
up with a
Ah,
lot of cancelled
that
games.
cancelled and delayed games, movies, TV shows, everything. That's what triggers me the most. Why tell us a date and then change it or delete it?
Yep.
And they don't even say, "Oh, we're delaying something. Oh, we're canceling it." They just delete it from their slate. They don't actually inform us fans. So I reckon Kathleen goes, new person comes in, and they just sit down and they talk about the next 10 years of Star Wars, and they plan ahead, and they make sure they are organized, and they keep their promises. They make realistic deadlines. That's what I want. I'm mad that there hasn't been a
Yeah.
Star Wars film since 2019 because they've had the time and they're delaying and cancelling stuff. But if someone new came in and the next film wasn't till, say, someone new came in today and the next film was coming out in 5 years today, I would be absolutely fine with that because it's a new person coming in and they're going and they're making a realistic plan.
Yeah. Um, I have a small theory that Disney are afraid to. Um, I think the reason that it's taken them so long is because they're working on so many shows.
Yeah,
Like, if I think they're
the
afraid
shows
to
really make
stop.
them more money.
I mean, I'm sure that they do, but I think that they're afraid to stop doing the shows to then give them more time on
That's
the
it.
movies.
That's it. Yeah, definitely.
I think they're just afraid of it.
It's
Like, if you stop swimming at all, you're just gonna.
that's it.
If
Yeah.
you slow down, at least in their heads, if they slow down, then they're screwed. They're not making any more money. But I think I don't know. I think someone needs a reboot, and I think they need to stop. They need to finish all their open
Yeah,
projects right now.
I agree.
Close off. close off Mando, close off all the animated series that they're doing,
Finish
and just
everything that's in production right now. Put a full stop on everything. Get new
exactly
people in the company. Restart. Click that
restart
reboot button.
from a different, just away from everything that we have right now.
That's it.
Um,
That's what they've got to do.
what you said before about them doing a continuation of the sequels, why?
It doesn't make
How?
sense. I reckon.
How? Why?
Do they know that if they make us Old Republic stuff, if they make us an Old Republic trilogy, that would make them a ton of money. If they really are just after money, make something good.
I don't like thinking of this for the last 10 seconds. Old Republic would be so much better because it brings back the fans of Legends, right? It brings back fans of
Exactly.
Legends that have watched the movies and are like,
Exactly.
"Ew, what are these movies?" Right? These Legends
Exactly.
fans, these which are the hardcore fans, which know everything about Star Wars.
Yep.
These fans will be like, "Damn, they're putting this like
Into canon.
amazing piece of scripture into a movie, into a
Yep.
live action movie."
And
And then the
into
fans
canon as well.
who have
Exactly.
yeah, and the fans who have only seen the sequels, like have only grown up with the sequels born pre Revenge of the Sith. Sorry, post Revenge of the Sith.
Post. Yeah.
Um like these fans who have had uh, um the sequels as prime Star Wars for them will then get a taste of something else, and it'll show them that the sequels aren't it. I understand people like the sequels, but as you just said, we're 5 years away from 50 years.
Mm,
Star
exactly.
Wars has age groups between the ages of 80 and now 5,
Yep.
right? Like, they need to just move on because more than people than not don't like the sequel. Less people like the sequels than more than they do. And just having, I mean, just going back to Old Republic or even, like, no, maybe not a story in Legends, maybe not a specific story from Legends, but the Old Republic itself, they just need to go back. It's just, it makes so much more sense in continuation, like continuing a story in which majority of the fan base did not enjoy.
Yeah.
I just can't fathom why.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And that's what I'm scared about with the Acolyte. The Acolyte's Old Republic. High Republic. But High Republic Plagueis exists. I'm really scared that they are going to create a new Sith legend and confirm that Plagueis is Legends. Because at the moment, we don't actually know if Plagueis is canon or Legends. Maybe Palpatine was just making that up in Revenge of the Sith. I really am
Yeah,
praying.
Disney can do whatever they want.
I
Like,
really
they can.
hope not, man. And
Um,
I Acolyte. I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to it, but I'm scared they're going to. Yeah. It's like if they did Old Republic, they have to use Revan, Malgus. They have to use these legend um characters from from Legends, from George Lucas's Legends. They have to use those characters. They can't they because if they create someone new, we're not gonna care as much. Yeah, I know everyone says on new stuff, but when you're dealing with the Old Republic, you have to use the legend characters. That's what I think. And then moving
I think
forward
at
in the
least to
Star Wars
start with.
universe, yes, you start with them, you build the Old Republic up, and you can bring new characters in. But moving past Rise of Skywalker, do all you want. I think they have full creativity there. But if they're going back, Old Republic, give us the characters that we know and love from the video games, the novels, the comics, and then branch off from them. They
Exactly.
have to
Like,
be very careful with what they
that's what I
do.
mean. They have to earn our trust back.
Mm-hmm.
They have to give us a character in which we all know so that it'll bring in people. Like right now, if Disney threw something at me and I had no idea about what it is, I wouldn't trust it.
No.
I would go see it because I have no reason not to like it either. But they need to throw a name at us. They need to give us something that we know. Even if it say if it's a Revan movie, right? I think that'll do. I think that would do well,
Mhm.
as
Make
in bringing in numbers.
it would definitely make a whole
Um,
trilogy. Make 3 trilogies of Old Republic. I don't know.
yeah,
Just name it. You could literally name it the Old Republic, and then each trilogy is focused on a different era in the Old Republic. The Old Republic goes on for tenths of thousands,
yeah,
hundreds, millions of years. The Old Republic is literally, you could go all the way back. They could do so much, and there's so many characters there that branch out. There's Revan, there's Melgus, there's heaps. There's Bane. Bane would be a cool one to see. We get him a little bit in the
yeah.
Clone Wars, so he's canon. Do something for him.
I don't know. It's just they need that big red reset button,
They
and
do. They need to.
they just need to have the
They need to
balls to
finish.
press it.
They need to finish producing everything they're doing right now, and then just stop everything. Just have a freaking just click the stop red button. Finish everything they're doing now, and then stop. No more shows. No more movies. Actually think about what you guys are doing, and then go from there.
Yeah,
Need to stop and realize what they're actually doing.
actually, something that I thought of that they probably that might benefit them is um like outsourcing Star Wars to a smaller company, like pushing it away from Disney, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
Yes. Yes.
we've kind of seen in the past few years with more so Marvel and Star Wars. Those are the two big ones that Disney are focused on lately. Um, they struggle from being Disney things, like Disney, like um, owned by Disney. They struggle. We've seen that.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that both companies, but in this case, Star Wars needs to be excluded from Disney's umbrella of ownership. Like it needs to be just pushed away to a different side. Give it to a different company, or just move Lucasfilm away and let them do their thing. Just let Lucasfilm just do their thing. Um, like Disney still makes the money and whatever, but just don't have so much Disney control over it.
I
And I
agree.
think undisneyfy it. That's it. Just undisneyfy it.
I agree. And I definitely agree. They need to, Disney. Yeah, I definitely agree. Disney need to take a step back, let Lucasfilm be its little company once again,
Yeah,
and let them have full control. And Disney can
exactly.
take the profits, do what they want, but let Lucasfilm be its little thing again. But that's never gonna happen. It's Disney. It
Yeah,
really
yeah.
gonna hope.
No, it's the same with Marvel. Like
Oh, on Marvel, yeah. I watched the She-Hulk
it's
finale yesterday.
yeah.
Dude, I what the hell? No, like what the hell? I don't. It's oh my god. It was bro. She-Hulk came out of the Disney Plus freaking screen and was in real. It was so whack.
And
I'm
even the camera has a hat too for Kevin Feige.
oh, it was so. What the hell? How did? How was that approved? I'm sorry, but like, oh,
I thought you
I
were talking
was
about the kid, but yeah, I
oh,
didn't. Yeah, no,
and
I
and
haven't
and,
watched it. I
and
don't plan on
freaking
watching it.
Hulk's son Scar.
Yeah,
Biggest opportunity missed there. Why the hell does he look like that? What the hell's wrong with his head? He looks so sick
that's what
in
I
the
mean.
comics, and then they, ah,
Disney. I think I'm worried that Disney are going to ruin Deadpool.
dude, I'm scared. Yeah, I'm really excited
Um,
for Deadpool 3. It's gonna do
but
amazing,
also
but
if Deadpool does really well as Deadpool,
it's coming into the
like
MCU.
if it's unchained, if he's still the same Deadpool, and it does really well, I really hope that kind of switches Disney to be like, oh, we have an older fan base than what we think. Maybe we can like not be so childish.
Yep, I agree.
Um,
And with yeah, because Deadpool 1 and 2,
being
obviously
absolutely
little
nuts.
yeah, Deadpool 1 and 2, little kids obviously can't watch that. Um, So bringing him in, I hope they yeah, it's going to be a different Deadpool because he's coming through the multiverse into the MCU. But I really think this multiverse, what they're doing with the multiverse, is getting out of hand with all these characters because they're gonna get. We're gonna get confused as fans of what the hell's happening, what characters real, what characters from the MCU. It's gonna get way too confusing, and I feel like there's so many Marvel projects and movies and TV shows. I feel like because there's so many, um, and I highly doubt that all the filmmakers from each show and movie are gonna talk to each other and say what's happening. I feel like the filmmakers are gonna end up getting confused, and they're gonna stuff something up which won't make sense with the MCU. The multiverse is really they've got to be really careful with that.
They do.
They could screw it up
Um.
very, very easily.
Oh, it's so easy to come up with plot
They,
holes.
they have to do a very good job with that, and I don't think they'll be able to do it. It's like
I kind of
from No Way Home, and Peter doing Doctor Strange doing the spell and then opening up the multiverse. That was cool, but if they're gonna make the multiverse still open, because obviously the end credit scene we got Venom. Um,
The
now
only reason that
Venom's
Venom was in that was because when Toby gets stabbed at the end of it, they had a plan to use the Venom symbiote to save him.
okay.
Toby was supposed to wear the black suit in No Way Home.
What
That's
did he
the
do?
only reason that in Venom he gets transported into the other universe. That's the
Into
only
the
reason, and then they
MCU?
decided not to.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
at
Well,
least that's what I was.
they've got to be
That's
really
what
careful with what they do.
it said.
Yeah.
They do. I think I think what they should do, what Disney should do, or what Marvel should do is after this Kang dynasty, right? Because they can't go much further than this in power leveling.
Hmm.
Like we go from She-Hulk, who yes is very strong, but in comparison to a lot of other people in the MCU, it's nothing, right? Um, so the power rankings are so divided. I think what they need to do is after this next phase, or not for another phase, after this next big bad, once whatever they're doing with Kang the Conqueror is over, I think they
Secret
need to
Wars and
do
stuff.
their own type of. Yeah, I think they need to hit their own kind of flashpoint, which is their own reset button. They need to go back and something goes wrong, and now we're not in the timeline that we are now. So we have different characters. So we have a new Iron Man played by a new character, obviously,
Yeah.
IDJ forever, right?
Yeah.
But just hit their own reset button, reboot it, because that's what Flashpoint is. Flashpoint is Barry in DC. I don't know how much you know about it, but Flashpoint is Barry going back and saving his parents, and then he decides that's bad, and then everything's gone wrong, and so then he
Yeah.
tries to go back and reset it to normal timeline, but then things change.
Yeah.
Like the animated Flashpoint TV series, it's Thomas Wayne that's Batman instead of Bruce. Thomas dies. Sorry, Bruce dies in the alley instead of
Hmm.
Thomas. So Thomas is now Batman, his dad. And things like that.
Hmm.
But I
Yeah.
think they need to hit their own reset button after this whole thing because the power leveling is just going to be so difficult to maintain. Like having small ranged people, and then like we saw a little bit in Endgame where you have Okoye is standing next to Captain Marvel, right?
Mm.
I love Okoye, but
Yeah.
I think they're just getting too crazy, and I think later soon they need to reset that. But
100%. They have to be very
Disney are
careful.
just too afraid to reset everything. They need to reset Star Wars,
They
but they're
do.
afraid.
Yeah. And that's a shame because if they actually really think about it, they can actually make stuff that we generally want and enjoy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to move on from Star Wars now. 54 minutes of talking about Star Wars, Marvel, and stuff. So yeah, Andor season 1. Jumping back to the start now. I'm not gonna go through it again, but I don't want to drag out us talking about Star Wars anymore. But yeah, just Lucasfilm, please finish your shows you're doing now, and then click the big red stop button. Have a think about what you're doing, move on, and actually take things one step at a time. That's my final say. Star Wars. Do you have any last words before we move on?
No, I think that's it. Just
Yeah,
yeah, like Disney, you either got to gain our trust back or just press that big red button and work it out from there. Because there's not much more that that your fans can take without just leaving entirely. Because
yeah,
after the sequels, just it's been a decline. Mostly, there's been jumps, but mostly it's been a decline. So you got to do. I don't know.
I 100% agree, and
Invest in the fans.
yeah, that's what they're gonna do, and future will be very interesting. I don't think it's going to improve. But have high hopes. But if we have high hopes, then we're bound to be disappointed. So,
Yeah.
what does MJ say in Spider Man? Expect disappointment, and you won't be disappointed. So anyway, we're gonna move on.